Hi, in this video, we not only want to look at the very first kind of sentence in Jonah 1:6a, or the first bit of Jonah 1:6a, but we want to seal the deal on the article. The article is the word the in Hebrew. So let's begin. So start by pausing the video and see if you can pronounce this line. How'd you do? Here's how I would pronounce it. Vayik Rav, Eliv Rav, ha-kovel. Okay, what do you recognize? You probably recognize the vav here. It means and, right? You might recognize the L, which means to. In the video that immediately follows this, where we finish up Jonah 1:6, I'm going to tell you that that vav on the end is him or his. In this case, to him. So, and he, somebody, he drew near to him. To whom? Well, to Jonah. So remember, they're in the boat. The storm's going. Jonah's gone down in the bottom. He's sleeping. Everybody else is like, help me, God, whoever God, whatever God I have, help me. And the captain drew near to him, to Jonah. Now, this is the verb of the sentence. Here is captain. Now, it's not really captain. It's Rav HaKovel, which is something like the chief of the sailor, which is not the way we'd put it in English, but of course, this isn't English, this is Hebrew, they can do it however they want. Rav means something like abundance, when it's, I have a rav of coffee every day. But in this context, it means something like the chief, the big guy, the abundance guy, the big, the head honcho. And this, if you remember, do you remember what kind of a construction it is when it's Rav HaKovel? It's something of something. That's called a construct chain. And so Rav is in the construct state. How do I know? Well, the main reason I know is because it has a short vowel, that patak. It's not normally when you have a word, a one-syllable word, say, it's accented and it would be long. Accented syllables tend to be long. But here, it's going together. It's in a construct chain. It goes together with the word that comes after it. And so in the video I did on Hebrew nouns, I mentioned that when you put something in the construct state, it's like it sucks all the wind out of it, sucks all the length of the vowels out of it. Why? Because if this was all standing by itself, what's a man out standing in his field? What's a farmer? No, anyway, that's not important right now. So Rav, if it was standing by itself, would probably have a kamatz, it would have a long vowel. But because it's in construct, and if you were to go to interlinearbible.org and look at the accent, it's what's called a munach. It's going, hey, the word, I go with the word that comes after me, kind of is pointing toward the next word. And so in the construct, because this is all kind of pronounced in the same breath, you don't have as much breath at the beginning, and so it debreathifies. It goes shorter in its length of vowelage. And so that patak is the hint that this is in the construct state. This is the sailor. And so remember from that video on constructs that when the last word of a construct chain is definite, then all the words of a construct chain are definite. Now, how do I know that this is definite? I know it's definite because it has a the on it. And this hey patak is the word the. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, where's the doubling? There's no doubling of the chet because it's a guttural. There are four gutturals, aleph, ayin, hey, and chet. And the gutturals say, I don't do doubling. It's not in my contract. I do not show doubling. And so there's several different ways that gutturals process, or the article processes. What am I going to do? Hey, come on, Dad, tell him to do doubling. Nope, I don't do doubling. And so there's several ways that the article processes that, which leads me to why in this video I'm going to now summarize the way that the Hebrew article behaves. So let us begin the systemization. So the normal way that the article works in Hebrew is hey, patak, and a doubled next letter. So like take hayam that we've seen, the sea. Hey, patak, doubling is the, and then yam is sea. That's normal. That's the default. That's the first thing you should know in terms of recognizing the article. Now, but gutturals don't do doubling. We've seen an example of an article on a word that begins with aleph. Here it is, ha'aniyah, the boat. With aleph and ayin, which are gutturals, it won't double. It won't double. He tried to double. He tried to shoot a dagesh into the aleph, and it bounced back, ricocheted, and lengthened the patak into a kamatz. Not really. I don't know why. That just seems fun to me to picture that. But basically, normally it's hey patak doubling, but when the first letter of the word is an aleph or an ayin, we get what's called compensatory lengthening. The patak becomes a kamatz, okay? With this verse, or this part of the verse, we can now tell you what happens with a chet and with a hey. So with hey and a chet, what happens is, some grammarians call it virtual doubling. What does that mean? It means it doesn't do anything. It just basically, just say it. It doesn't do anything. You have hey patak meow. It's like they tried to shoot the dagesh into there, and it was so open. It just fell into empty space. Again, not really, just a picture I like. And so with hey and chet, it's hey patak nothing. So here are the three main situations. The normal is hey patak doubling. With ayin and aleph, I switch that around, it gets compensatory lengthening. And then with hey and chet, we get virtual doubling, which basically means it doesn't do anything. So that leaves me with just one more situation to mention, and that is when there's a preposition. So when there's a preposition on the front, like ba, so you have hayam with no preposition, the sea. Bayam is in the sea. And the bet on the front squeezes that hay out like a pimple, pops it out like a pimple. The hay goes away. What the hay? And we're left only with the patak doubling. So when you have a preposition on the front of a word with the article, the hay goes away, and you're left with whatever was there. So if it's normal, it's patak doubling. If it's compensatory lengthening, it's a kamatz. If it's virtual doubling, it's just a patak. But basically, the same thing that happens in these first three situations will happen with a preposition, except the hey will go away. And there you have it. This is a systematic view of the article. You now know, I think, pretty much everything there is to know about the Hebrew article.